you're traveling out of state, and you were kind enough to join us for today's show. Judge Larson, where are you right now?
Well, I'm actually at the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. I came down here for a little trip to actually see an airplane that my dad worked on in the Air Force back in the early 1950s, a B-36. There's only 4 left, and one of them's here, and so it's kind of on my bucket list to see them. And I took my dad to the Air Force Museum, and I think you have some pictures of that when I took him to see the other B-36. He passed away a number of years ago, so he wasn't able to come with me, obviously. But,
Right.
But
well, we have some. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Actually, the people here were kind enough to. I'm in the director's office, and I wanted to because the director was kind enough. His name's Scott Marchand. He agreed to come on and 1 or 2 minutes share about the museum, what's here, and anybody from Seattle might be interested in coming down to see.
Yeah, so we're probably the world's largest air and space museum that's outside of, say, a government system. We've got about 425 aircraft on display here on 90 acres, about 250,000 square feet of display space, and we cover all aircraft, air and space vehicles, all eras, all countries, all types, military, civil, commercial, experimental. So real diverse representation of human achievement in aerospace in the last 120 odd years.
And now, what city are you in?
We're in Tucson, Arizona, just about 90 minutes south of Phoenix.
Oh, very cool. Well, it's a great place. It looks like Judge Larson sent me a couple of photos earlier to show some of the planes that you guys got. That was pretty amazing. Okay, so the first photo that we're showing here is Judge Larson's dad underneath. What is that airplane called?
That's the B-36. It's an airplane that has 6 28-cylinder engines and 4 jet engines. So that's him. He's about 5'11". You can see standing next to the landing gear. You can see how immense that airplane is.
Right, immense is the right word. He's what, 5'11", you said?
Yeah, and so that's and I was standing next. I was able to stand under the fuselage, and I'm 6'1", and I still had an inch or two above my head.
Right. So, Dan, would you show the next picture?
That's him and I in the cockpit of the Spruce Goose in McMinnville, Oregon. Now, you wanted me to know about things I do off the bench and aircraft, and my dad and I connected through aircraft. And this is the Spruce Goose, the airplane that Howard Hughes built, made out of wood, and it's in McMinnville, Oregon. And we took a trip down there, and we were able to get a picture in the cockpit. My dad wearing a Howard Hughes style hat there. And that picture, when my dad died, it was in the front of his wallet.
Right.
And now that same picture that was in the front of his wallet is in the front of my wallet, and it'll be there until the day I die. Because he meant a lot to me, and we connected through aircraft.
Yeah. So your dad was a serviceman in the Air Force. What was he?
Oh, he was a mechanic, and then he became a mechanic for Northwest Airlines for a number of years, and retired from Northwest Airlines, and which became part of Delta. But he and I connected through aircraft and cars. And so that's it's, even though he's passed away 8 years ago now, it's still the legacy of aircraft. And I try to go to as many air museums as I can and try to connect with them still through that. So here's another, remember we connected through cars. This is actually me. This is 22 years ago. I just visited one of the racetracks that I frequented out here when I was in Phoenix. It's actually in Chandler, Arizona. They let me go out on the starting line by myself, and I went and visited again. But this is me in National Hot Rod Association competition. I drove a Super Comp dragster. That car was capable of going 0 to 60 in just over a second.
Wow.
So a lot of acceleration. But again, my dad, each of us got a car for high school graduation, but we had to rebuild it with my dad to learn how to work on cars.
I think the last time you were on the show, you shared with our audience a little bit about your, legal practice, your before the bench. Can you touch on that?
Sure.
Legacy
I was a civil lawyer. I my first part of my career, I defended people who got sued. The insurance companies would hire me. That was the first part of my career. Then I owned a mediation company for 2 years. And then I went on with a large law firm in Seattle, and I did products liability, aerospace. I did mass torts, which I helped manage discovery for 15,000 lawsuits nationwide. I worked on multi-million-dollar construction jobs where to take a deposition, you'd have to have 25 chairs in the room because there was 25, 30 parties involved in the litigation, and then ultimately became a trial judge. I was president of the school board in Federal Way, and the court was having some difficulties, so I went in and went from working on high-level cases to traffic and misdemeanors, but it's one of the best things I've ever done. Very fulfilling. And this picture is my involvement in the community too, and I go to different high schools and different elementary schools, middle schools, and speak. And this is a picture from a class at Auburn High School, a special needs class.
Right.
So I take robes with me so that all the students can wear robes and get a feel and hold the gavel and hit the gavel and do all that stuff like a judge. And
right.
Me speaking to the same class in 2019. This is a three-day whirlwind tour of Washington, D.C., where we take veterans back and I meet perfect strangers. I never met them before. They're people I've never met, and then I escort them. Sometimes they have to be they're wheelchair bound, and other times it's just walking around with them and having just making sure their needs are met. And that's my job, is to make sure their needs are met for the weekend and serving them.
Right. Right.
And this is just part of the group. We transport about 100 people cross country, and so this is a very cool thing. That we haven't done it. They're starting to do it again, but I haven't done it the last couple of years.
I would love to introduce you with some Vietnamese Vietnamese, but now living in America, veterans from the South Vietnam, because that was a war that we want to remember.
Yeah, and I think, and I got contacts with the folks there, and I think if we set it up, I think they might consider including some of the members of the South Vietnam military.